But it was funny because Chris Brown saw all of this and responded to it and was like, hey, hold up, ain't no growth.
I couldn't pick my seat.
I couldn't pick my seat. They put me here, and I ain't about to my bag up because of this little.
When Chris Brown and Quavo were seen sitting next to each other at Paris Fashion Week, the headlines were all talking about how awkward that interaction must have been. After all, these two have a history that goes back years ago. Believe it or not, there has been another major feud going on in the rap industry, and it does not involve someone from Compton in Canada. But what exactly happened between 1/3 of Migos and Chris Brown? Let's break down the history between the two rappers, and what events led to the bad blood we see today. Before 2017, both Brown and Quavo were good friends. They even collaborated on a bunch of tracks such as Whippin' and Just for Tonight. When interviewers asked them about the other, there was nothing but positivity and love. Like many rivalries, this one started because of a girl. Chris was dating Karrueche Tran back in the early 2010s and had a very on and off relationship. But Tran's dynamic with Brown changed completely when it was revealed that the rapper would often mistreat his partners. This dates back to the time the whole Rihanna controversy hit the internet. Tran said that Brown threatened to hurt her and anybody who was close to her because, according to him, if he couldn't have her, no one could. And when the news about Rihanna put a dent on his career, Tran revealed that Chris had gotten physical with her too and struck her in the stomach more than once. She eventually filed a restraining order against him that stated that he needed to stay at least 100 yards away from her, her mom, and her brother. Chris Brown was turning out to be a one that no one expected him to be.
Ladies, y'all be complaining about niggas being like stalkers, in love with y'all, kind of crazy shit, and get tired of them. Well, guess what? I'm one of them. If I love you, ain't nobody gonna have you. I'm gonna make you miserable. I'm gonna chase that. I'm gonna chase your ass around.
So when Quavo was seen with Karrueche in private and paparazzi started to assume they were dating, Brown felt betrayed. He thought that both Honcho and his ex-girlfriend orchestrated the restraining order just so it wouldn't be awkward for them to see each other. The fact that this happened not long after he popped by Amigos' concert and said some heartwarming words about them stung 100 times harder. I just want to shout out y'all, he announces, addressing himself to Migos. Y'all my real friends and brothers. I bought your album 3 times. I spent my own money, an expletive. I'm proud of you N-words. I will never hate on you N-words. But these two being seen together in public was way more often than one could think. In one of Migos' concerts, Honcho and Tran were seen riding off together in his car. At the time, neither of them wanted to be exclusive and just wanted to appreciate and enjoy each other's company. Brown was not a fan of this new couple because he felt as if Quavo stabbed him in the back 1,000 times. Fans think he was more heartbroken about this than any of his other previous breakups. After that, fans were seated for a rivalry that would entertain the masses all over the world. At the 2017 BET Awards, Migos were beefing with more than just one person at the venue. Quavo and his team first had a standoff with Joe Budden, and that clip did an insane amount of numbers on the internet. But after the show ended, a video revealed that Brown's crew was caught in a physical altercation with Quavo's crew. Neither artist got physical on their own. It was just their teams yelling at each other and shoving each other back and forth. Reports say it all started when Brown's team intentionally pushed Quavo out of the way. It's safe to say that he was definitely still salty about his relationship with Karrueche. Perhaps this was the last time these two would face each other in a very long time. Neither rapper brought up the other, and the news was looking out to be very dry when it came to the beef between these two. Then in 2021, Brown decided to reignite the flame once again and challenged Quavo to a basketball match. To make things fairer, he dropped Jack Harlow's name too, and wanted it to be a 2v2 match. But don't think that this was some random challenge on a basketball court out of the blue. Back in 2021, many artists were competing in Bleacher Report's Open Run during NBA All-Star Weekend in Atlanta. On March the 6th, Honcho and Harlow celebrated their victory over 2 Chainz and Lil Baby. Chris saw the news and wasn't impressed. He hopped on his Instagram and said that the winning team wasn't all that. They knew who not to ask for on that 2-on-2 basketball, declared Breezy. I would have cooked Quavo and Jack. On my soul. Guess they wanted a smoke-free zone. But if you were to look at his history in basketball, Brown is actually pretty talented on the court. At 6'1", he won a bunch of tournaments against other artists like The Game and Justin Bieber. Quavo, on the other hand, wasn't new to the game either. In the 2018 All-Star Celebrity Game, he was crowned MVP. This gave him enough reason to tell Brown to sit down because no one is beating him in a basketball match. After defeating Lil Baby and 2 Chainz, Harlow and Quavo took home a cash prize of $500,000. That kind of money was probably a little something extra to rub on Brown's face. As the two exchanged blows on Instagram, people were starting to believe that they'll actually see a match between the two. But nothing came out of this, and the beef was something that not many fans paid attention to. In 2024, Brown released Freak, featuring Lil Wayne, T Grizzly, and Joyner Lucas. In the single, he threw massive shade at Quavo and their history since the late 2010s. Some of the lyrics say, "Okay, now effing my old expletives ain't gonna make us equal. Freak expletive. She like Casamigos, not the Migos. I don't F with bougie expletives, man. That expletive is all hype." This was an obvious jab at the hit single that popped off Migos' career, Bad and Bougie. A day later, Quavo released a diss track called Tender, and the time it took for him to clap back surprised many. Honcho's lyrics were the ultimate low blow because they referenced the restraining order Tran filed against him, along with the many allegations of him mistreating his previous partners. But that's not all. Tender also talked about the diamond rings that Brown wanted back after gifting them to her. The fact that Brown demanded he get them back all while threatening Tran changed everyone's perspectives of the R&B artist. Brown then released Weakest Link on April 20th and referenced something that was enough to send him to the hospital. He mentioned Takeoff, saying he's the only member that had anyone's respect. Chris then added that everyone wished it was Quavo, who died instead. On November 1st, 2022, Takeoff and his uncle Quavo attended a private party at the 810 Billiards and Bowling Alley in Houston. After the party, they played a little dice game that ended in a heated argument, and eventually 30 bystanders crowded the scene because it ended with gunshots. Takeoff was and everyone thinks he was gone way too soon. Unexpected would be an understatement when describing his death, and Migos was never the same ever again. The year after his passing, Quavo and Offset decided it would be best to permanently disband the group because making music would never be the same. The rappers then took their own journeys and pursued their solo careers. But Chris Brown, offensively mentioning Honcho's nephew in a diss, was all sorts of messed up. The craziest part is that this wasn't even everything in the song. For starters, Quavo was actually vibing to the song when listening to it for the first time on Instagram Live. He was even caught singing along to the lyrics. Apart from the Takeoff line, Brown also mentioned Quavo's relationship with Saweetie and the leaked surveillance footage that showed him mistreating her in March 2021. These two were seen together at New York Fashion Week and nightclubs back in 2018, just a year after he was seen with Chris Brown's ex. Many thought the short-lived relationship with Karrueche Tran would put an end to the rappers' rivalry and squash their beef, but it stretched for another 7 years. Unlike his relationship with Tran, Quavo and Saweetie actually went official. In October 2018, she wished him a happy birthday by sharing a photo and calling him handsome. They made it even more official at the 2019 Grammy Awards when they attended together and walked the red carpet hand in hand. Quavo was also caught kissing Saweetie on the cheek, and given the timeline of these events, Chris Brown probably felt like it was a punch to the gut. For the longest time, he was mad that someone he considered his brother would date his ex-girlfriend, only for that relationship to last less than a year. It didn't even go public, which made Brown feel like an even bigger fool. Quavo and Saweetie started doing interviews together, and most of them showed the true nature of their dynamic.
Okay, when is my birthday?
Come on now, that's easy. That's easy. July 2nd. I already know your birthday. Don't do that. You ain't have to tell me.
I'm trying to help him out.
No, that's easy.
Okay, baby.
I didn't even want that question. That question shouldn't be in there. I'm trying to plan on what I'm gonna get you for your birthday.
It was very smooth sailing up until Saweetie left a tweet in March 2021. She announced, "I'm single. I've endured too much betrayal and hurt behind the scenes for a false narrative to be circulating that degrades my character. Presents don't band-aid scars, and the love isn't real when the intimacy is given to other women." Quavo was quick to respond and didn't want to let the narrative be one-sided and decided to reply to her tweet with a story of his own. On his Twitter account, he tweeted, "I know you want to make this into a show, so I'll play my part just this one time. I don't normally put my business out there, especially my personal life. I feel like the internet and the blogs and the publications made it bigger than what it was. The two exes were throwing jabs on the internet back and forth. Fans knew for a fact that Chris Brown was probably somewhere in the corner enjoying every single second of the arguments that surfaced online." In May 2021, Saweetie revealed that she's over with the breakup and is taking time to heal on her own. But the two were seen out publicly later that year, sparking rumors that maybe they're trying to make things work again. In January 2022, the rumors were true because they were spotted in New York City on a date at a restaurant. They then made their second official red carpet debut at the 2022 Grammys. It looked like the two reconciled for good and were looking forward to making things better and making this last for a very long time. As far as Chris Brown is concerned, this is a very interesting timeline for a relationship. One of the reasons Quavo and Saweetie initially broke up was because of a video that went viral back in 2021. Surveillance footage from an elevator revealed that they got into a physical altercation. Saweetie hit her partner in the face and threw a suitcase out of the elevator. Honcho then dragged her into the elevator and fell on top of her. The My-type rapper was off-screen most of the time and was left lying there. She struggled to get up and limp out of the elevator as Quavo watched. Now, Saweetie wanted to keep her privacy and told the news that the incident from over a year ago had been buried and forgotten. At the time, she wished to focus on herself and not on her past relationship. Quavo, on the other hand, told reporters that he never physically mistreated her in any way whatsoever. "We had an unfortunate situation almost a year ago that we both learned and moved on from," he said. "I haven't physically mistreated Saweetie and have real gratitude for what we did share overall." He was very serious about never laying a finger on a woman in a million years. He didn't appreciate how everyone just assumed the worst case scenario from one surveillance footage of them in an elevator. Quavo telling everyone that it's not what it looked like is one story, but the fact that Saweetie forgave him and even tried to rekindle things made Chris Brown's diss worthless. Unlike his controversy with Rihanna and Tran, neither woman tried getting back or reconciling anything. Even if Saweetie and Quavo don't follow each other on social media anymore, there's still a possibility that he never harmed her in any way. The Migos member then went all out on over-hoes and expletives and talked about Brown's controversial case with Rihanna. Since Chris also mentioned him being with Saweetie before Quavo did, Honcho didn't care much for what he was hearing. Like Karrueche, Saweetie also didn't care much about being the center of attention in this feud. When the spotlight was on Tran, she said that she didn't care about what was going on and hadn't even heard the disses. Quavo's disses on Brown's relationship from the early 2010s is what really hit the soft spot. Though Brown said that he didn't care much for the track, he still can't help but mention a couple of similarities in his previous friendship. It's been a while since Brown has been in a serious relationship though. His most popular one was with Rihanna, because everyone knew how it ended, the worst way ever. The two started seeing each other in 2008, but knew each other since 2006. They were seen together on the red carpet of the 2006 Kids' Choice Awards. A few joint performances and meetups at award shows later, they caught being seen in public more and more. On February 8, 2009, things went downhill at a Clive Davis pre-Grammys party in LA. They fought in the car when she read a few texts from another woman on Chris's phone. Reports say that he got really mad and struck her with his right hand, but people still thought that they were trying to make it work. Some of the headlines said that they spent a couple of nights at Diddy's Star Island mansion in Miami, Florida. His mistreatment wouldn't go unnoticed though. The two appeared in court when in March 5, 2009, he was charged with 2 felonies for mistreatment. He was then sentenced to 5 years probation and 1,400 hours of community service. Rihanna tried finding romance elsewhere, like with baseball star Matt Kemp, but it didn't last too long because they ended up breaking up a few months after being seen together in public. It was clear that she was still hung up on Chris. On February 10, 2011, Riri's restraining order against him was eased. The judge allowed them to have contact with each other under the condition that Chris would respect her and not mistreat her in any way. Rumor had it that they were trying to make it work again, but when on Good Morning America, Brown lost his cool. Robin Roberts talked about the images of Rihanna's bruised up face and the mistreatment case of 2009, which led to the rapper throwing a huge fit. After causing a ruckus, smashing windows, and wrecking the dressing room, he hopped on Twitter to talk about what happened. He posted a tweet saying he was over people bringing his past up, and yet the same people praise Charlie Sheen and other celebrities for the things they do. He knew this would only cause more trouble down the way and deleted the tweet. At the start of 2012, he announced that he wouldn't be doing any more interviews, just so he avoided the controversy with Rihanna. The major plot twist that no one could have ever imagined happened in February 2012. Rihanna invited Chris to appear on the remix of her song, Birthday Cake. She made a guest appearance on Turn Up the Music in return. It was going pretty smoothly up until October 2012, when Chris did the strangest thing a celebrity did while in a relationship.
It ain't about the music. I love my fans. I love everything. It's just, you know, when you share history with somebody, then you tend to fall in love with somebody else. It's kind of difficult. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's Is it such thing as loving two people? I don't know. You know, I don't know if that's possible, but for me, I feel like that.
For the longest time, he tried dating both Karrueche and Rihanna. He then realized that the right thing to do was to end it with one girl and continue dating the other, just so nobody got hurt. Besides, it was getting a bit too messy, having two relationships as a famous rapper.
So they threw a party on this big boat, and my girl was there, and maybe 15 minutes later, Rihanna showed up. But I'm on the boat like, oh, shit. Like, what am I finna do right now? And you know what? They were cool, bro.
They rocked
They
together.
spoke to each other, and I was like, whoa. Like, please. I was just praying. I said, please.
Yeah.
Please.
You thought you was going to go overboard.
Right. Walk the plank.
Please. But honestly, that was the first time that I could say I knew they loved me, because they were classic.
Brown ended up getting the short end of the stick, though. Fans all over the world slowly started siding with Rihanna and painted Chris as the bad guy after the mistreatment case. Things got even worse when Karrueche opened up about her violent experience with the rapper. It was never an easy relationship for her to begin with. She never dated a single man from the beginning because she actually knew that he was still dating or trying to make it work with Rihanna. Karrueche didn't have anything bad to say about her dating life with Quavo, though. And as far as his dynamic with Chris goes, they're still up and at it to this day in 2024, despite their rough histories. In April, he had a scheduled concert in Connecticut, only for a handful of fans to show up in a massive arena. Turns out, Chris Brown pulled a 50 Cent and bought a huge chunk of the tickets at the venue. The turnout was a little too embarrassing, even for Honcho, who reportedly left before the scheduled ending time of the concert. This little stunt got attention from other rappers, including 50, the king of pranking his rivals. He saw the news about what happened and commented, "Oh, this expletive getting different. I know N-words tight LOL." After all, who could forget the man behind this iconic prank? Fifth's target was Ja Rule, a man whom he's been beefing with since the 1990s. Considered to be one of the longest rivalries in hip-hop history, 50 made the ultimate move and bought 200 tickets in 2018 to go see Ja Rule live. At first, people thought that he was going to take his friends and family to the venue and enjoy the show. It ended up being a hilarious ploy to humiliate Ja, because the front row seats were bought by one man who didn't even show up to the concert. So the mesmerized rapper ended up performing to an audience of no one. Fifth trolled Rule on Instagram and sarcastically said that the show was great. The hilarious caption told Ja to do it again because his kid went to the restroom. 50 later revealed that he just happened to see the tickets online, and they were so cheap he might as well just buy them all. He later revealed that Ja's concert was going for $15 a seat, and 200 seats was like spare change to a millionaire like him. Now, Quavo's concert tickets are likely a bit more expensive because of how popular he is today, because as compared to 50 Cent and Ja Rule, their decade-long rivalry has put Ja's career to dust. Fans wonder if this will be the same case with Chris and the front and center of Migos. Unfortunately, many fans have all their attention somewhere else. Kendrick Lamar and Drake's beef has taken the internet by storm. K-Dot probably released one of the best diss track runs of this generation, because months after their release, they're still being played at the clubs. Many don't even know that Chris Brown and Quavo are beefing in the first place. Now that the Kenny and Drizzy beef is slowly dying down, only time will tell if the spotlight will be shined on these two. But the thing is that the reason Chris and Huncho started fighting is something that could have been completely avoidable. Rihanna, Karrueche, and Saweetie have all told everyone that they're not part of this beef and choose to stay as far away as possible. At this point, fans think that Chris and Quavo both forgot why they started beefing in the first place. The only good thing is that these two haven't crossed paths yet, because according to some rappers, if they do, it won't end well.
I think that beef is done as far as them displaying their dislike for one another. I think that's over with. I think now at this point, if they come cross paths, it's on sight. I pray that it don't go there, but it's almost like I'm done talking, I'm done making songs, done rapping about you. What's happening?
No one knows where this rivalry will go from now onwards. As Young Jock said, it's obvious that these two have no more disses left in them and want to settle the score in person. They've been quiet for a few months, and Chris buying Quavo's concert tickets was the last fans have heard from the rivalry. The beef will either squash on its own, or something massive is about to erupt in the next few weeks. All people can do at this point is wait. Will this dissolve without anyone noticing, or be the next Kendrick versus Drake? If you enjoyed this video, click on the ones showing on your screen now to watch similar content.